Hey folks, I'm John P. with Texas Metalworks. If you are sitting on a stack of DeWalt 20-volt batteries, well, guess what? I've got news for you. We bought all of these 11 items so you don't have to, and we're gonna unbox them and give them all a test. So welcome to the show. Let's make the chaos happen. Okay, so we've got all these boxes. Let's just do this. We're gonna open them one at a time, and I'm gonna test them and give you my opinion and let you know whether it's worth buying or not. So to get started, let's try this LED work light. This thing is cheap and it promises a whole lot of light output, but we'll be the judge of that. That is a lot of LEDs around the perimeter and one giant LED in the middle. Check it out, it's also got USBs, so you could feed off and charge your cell phone if you want. Wow, oh my God, that is bright. Let's see what happens if we turn out the lights in the shop. Nobody's here. So we're gonna turn out every light. This is the only light for our entire shop at the moment. That's pretty good. We're looking like, I don't know, 60 feet down this area here, all with this light. So that's on high, let me put on low. That's, oh, it's a spot and then a flood. I wish you could have both at once, but that is super, super bright. Wow, I am impressed. This is a thumbs up and it's cheap. Okay, if you ever do any projects, this is actually a battery operated hot glue gun. I truly have no idea how to use a hot glue gun, but we're gonna give it a shot anyway. One might accidentally be mistaken enough to believe this was a DeWalt tool, but it looks like it's got an on-off switch here, and it looks like you just feed the sticks, and it comes with a whole bunch of glue sticks. Shove it in, and let's stick a battery on it and see what happens. I guess now if it's on, the little light comes out, and I'm assuming that it's heating up this tip or something. I don't want to touch it. That's a big battery. I would expect this thing to, we should be squishing out some glue by now. The nozzle can heat up to 482 degrees Fahrenheit during operation. Do not touch the nozzle. Preheat the glue gun for 3 to 5 minutes. Man, I don't have that kind of patience. Pull the trigger to release the melted glue. The glue solidifies in 30 seconds. After using the glue gun, keep it from other stuff for 5 minutes until the melted glue dry and cool down. We're gonna give it a couple minutes and then we'll see what happens.
A few minutes later.
Oh, there it comes. Look at that. Okay. I just have to hot glue something to something. It actually works pretty good now that it's hot. You just have to have some patience, I guess. I don't know how hard it is to get off later, but how about that? So I guess if you need to hot glue things to other things, this thing seems to work pretty well. Okay, moving on. I'm laughing because it says it's a portable fish tank something. Anyway, what this is a water pump. So it's a portable water pump. I guess that's a filter or something. Here is the pump and the accessories. If you need to transfer water from one place to another, like if something got flooded and you need to pump it out, for example, or I don't know what else, that's about all I can come up with. It's got a submersible pump here. Yeah, that's the submersible pump, and I guess that's where this filter is going to screw on because it's going to take in water through here. So we'll screw that on so big things don't get into the pump. Now this thing, we can spool it out. How far can we go? Pretty good. That's a lot. Okay, that's it. And then when you're done, you could wrap it up. So that's convenient. I like that. And it's kind of cool that this will store like that. That's a convenient way to store it. Where's the battery go? Oh, look at that. Battery goes right inside. That's convenient. And we've got an on-off switch. Let's see what happens if I turn it on real quick. Oh yeah, probably don't want to do that without water. Accessories. So we can connect hoses to it, presumably. I see where the water goes in. Where does the water come out? All right, we're gonna get a couple buckets and we're gonna figure this out. Okay, we figured out how to get the water out of it. So the water goes in here, but it needs to thread onto this little thing. Unfortunately, you need a hose for that. And we're in a shop, I don't have a hose, but I already filled up a bucket with some water. And so I'm dying to see if it'll pump at all. Let's see what happens. Okay. That'll put out some pressure. So we came outside and found a garden hose, but guess what? It's too big, it won't fit. So you're gonna have to use one of these small, medium, or large adapters along with the clamp and a piece of tubing in order to let the water go anywhere. Fire in the hole. Well, if you ever needed to solder something and all you have is a DeWalt battery sitting around, now you can buy one of these cheap little Chinese soldering guns. Comes with a variety of tips. Let's see how this works. We're gonna feed our wire through here to get to the heating rod. So this must go right there. Man, they make that plastic tough. Okay, that's about as far as I can go. I guess I have to squeeze the trigger. Oh, there we go. There it is. Okay. So since we've got that material coming out, now we're going to turn it on. Slap on our battery. There's a power button. There doesn't seem to be any kind of adjustment anywhere. Looks like there's a light back here. There's a little door, an access door here. That lets us see what's going on inside in case something gets jammed, I suppose. So we'll turn it on. Looks like our light's glowing. And we'll give it like 3 to 5 minutes to warm up because I learned a little something from our hot glue gun experience. Soldering, it's like welding, only not. So I set up a couple pieces of metal here and I'm gonna try and solder them together. When I give a little bit of a trigger action here, it's gonna hit that tip and heat up and melt. Oh yeah, it's already smoking on me and I am not doing it justice. That should actually be with some electrical wire or whatever, but I mean, it's kind of not exactly lining up. Yeah, it's not really passing the test, if you ask me. And I probably shouldn't be inhaling all this stuff either. It's fun to squeeze the trigger, but this thing sucks. I give it a fail. Continuing our exploration of DeWalt battery-powered objects, we have the Rolludrol Ultra Bright LED work light. A hanger, okay, to hang it from the ceiling, I guess. Now, this is one of these lights that kind of spiders around. So it's got a hanger right here, and then these drop down, and presumably you would use this from up above to illuminate an area. Well, we've got a whole set here, and we've got a lot of lights, but let's turn them all off and see what happens with just this. This is the wire rope that comes with it that we will use to hang it. There's also a light switch here. So why you need two, I'm not sure, but that actually puts out quite a bit of light. I mean, if you had a power outage or something, you could definitely illuminate a whole room with this thing. Now, I don't know exactly how long it will stay lit, And I don't know how many lumens it's got going on here, but it's actually quite nice. And all you had to do was snap this little power adapter onto the battery. And again, this one, like some of the other tools we've seen, has a USB output on it as well. So you could plug in a phone and be charging that as well. All in, I'd say thumbs up. Hey, maybe you need a fan. Well, here's a cheap Chinese fan. Let's check it out and see if it's any good. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. It comes with a remote? The overall build quality is, let's call it lightweight, but it's not bad. I mean, it's a typical plastic kind of little device. It's not like terribly breakable, but it's okay. See if our battery snaps on. Yep, snaps right on. And it looks like, oh, we've got a little stand that snaps into multiple positions. And then there is a control pad here. I don't know if you can see this on the edge. It looks like the sticker is like coming off. It looks like a sticker and it's coming up a little bit. It also has a light. Oh, how about that? There's a light. Oh, 3 settings. Not sure how to turn it off. Let's say hold it down. Yeah, hold it down to turn it off. And then we've got the fan, and there's 3 settings of fan. So let's see if we can blow Carter away. For high, that's a little weak. Like what I'm imagining for the use cases, maybe you've got it on your desk, you know? Let's see what happens. If I put it on my desk, let's see, how do I get the stand where it's there? Well, no, that's not. This is another, maybe a little bit of a problem, is how to get it to stand up and point towards me. It interferes with this size battery. Maybe with a much smaller battery, you wouldn't have that problem. But, okay, let's say we do that. And I turn this on high. I feel something. I wouldn't say it gives me a lot of relief. And then the other way I would see this being used would be, let's say you're camping or something. It's got a little hook here that pops out. So it could be hung from above. But this definitely isn't gonna work. I mean, well, there's enough to blow that around, but you can barely feel any movement. So it's kind of cool, but I'm gonna have to give it a thumbs down. Here is a little cordless impact wrench that I picked up off of Amazon. This is around $100, which is a lot cheaper than the DeWalt variant of it. And actually one of our guys here noticed that I had this, so he already pulled it out and did something with it, but we're gonna unbox it anyway, so, because this is the first time I'm looking at it. Let's see. It's hefty. Feels like a big old impact. Battery fits. There are multiple speeds down here. Looks like we've got 3, 2, 1. Let's go give it a shot.
A great success!
We've got 2 different portable air compressors for your 20-volt DeWalt batteries. One of them in a fancy box, one of them nondescript, to say the least. We're gonna compare them just for grins. Let's check it out. So this one is clearly of the handheld style. And it looks like it's got a little nub twist on quick connect, but it also comes with some little adapters if you want to do a basketball or air up an inner tube or something like that. There's a big LED screen on the back. That's nice. We can adjust the pressure here. There's a light. It's not very bright, but it'd be bright enough to use when you're changing tires. I guess the red flashing light could be used for an emergency locator or something. We'll give that a shot in a minute, but let's look at the other style. We've got a totally different style here. Well, this one comes with its own little case. That's kind of nice. So this one's more of a set it down and use it style. Now that is interesting. I don't believe I've ever seen whatever that is before. So I'm gonna actually have to read the manual to see how that works. But let's see how the battery fits on this one. Okay, we've got a much simpler display here. So pressure up and down, and there's a setup so we can go between PSI, bar, and kilopascals, I guess. We'll leave it on PSI. It's got some little attachments here that snap in the front. That's nice, so you don't lose them. And other than that, I mean, it's a compressor. So let's go give them both a shot and see which one we prefer, if either. We were playing with the compressor and found out a couple of things. One, there are two little areas here at the top that will hold some of these accessories. However, for some reason they won't hold all the accessories they give you. Like, first of all, this big one, it won't go in at all. This little one will go in. Well, not there. Went on this side. Okay. So maybe we could try and squeeze one of these. No, that's not gonna fit there. Maybe if we put these two together. Kinda. So it'll kinda hold some of the accessories, but not all of them. Anyway, all right, so then we said, let's go ahead and air this thing up. We'll go ahead and test it to 100 PSI. So I noticed you have to squeeze the trigger to get that to turn on. A few things. One, there's a little button here, and when you push this button, it cycles through some settings. There's a little car, a bike, motorcycle, basketball, and it's changing them each time, which is kind of cool. So I've aired it down. We've got basically 10 PSI at the moment, and we're gonna give this one a shot first. Set it to 36. Now, one thing I will say is this screen is a little hard to read in direct sunlight, but hey, this thing is cheap, so we're not gonna complain. Okay, it's reading 9.5. Let's see how long it takes. So 36. Actually, even though that took a few minutes, it didn't take as long as you would think. I mean, usually when you try these tiny little compressors, airing up a tire on a vehicle like this can take a good 5, 10, maybe 15 minutes. So we'll have to check the clock and see what it came in at, but it wasn't bad. So I'm gonna air down again to 10 PSI and then we'll give the other one a shot. We're back at 10 PSI. Still don't know what this stupid thing does. Set it up. We got to go to 36. And here we go. Squeeze the trigger. All right. Well, we're up to 36. It seemed like it took a little bit longer, but not terribly longer. We'll see when we run the footage. But either way, the good news is, based on the test that we did with both of these, honestly, I think they're both great. It kind of depends on which form factor you want. I think I prefer this one, and this is the one I'd want to throw in the trunk of my car and keep there if I was going to carry a DeWalt battery around with me everywhere where I went also. Okay, so if you got a bunch of DeWalt batteries sitting around, but what you really need is 120 volt output, well, that's what an inverter's for. So I found this relatively cheap inverter. This was about $100, which sounds like a lot, except if you look at the other official DeWalt ones, they're way more, like way more. If it works, it's compelling. So this sucker has a screen on the front. It's got USBs, even has a USB-C output. It's got this kind of universal plug. I guess it could potentially even do a European style plug. And then we've got spots for 4 batteries on the sides. It's got a nice handle that folds down. And it also has a light here. So let's see how the batteries fit. Snaps in just fine. And let's power it on. There we go. I don't know if you heard that, but for just a second, a little fan popped on. So let's see what happens when we hit the light. Oh, there we go. It's actually pretty bright. It's not like annoying, but it's pretty bright. And AC in and out. Interesting, I don't know why it's reporting 18 volts when we're using a 20 volt battery, but maybe it's stepping it down a little bit. The real test is to go plug something in and see if it works, especially since we only have 1 battery on it right now. Let's see what happens if it'll power something with 1 battery, and then I'll load it up with batteries and we'll see if it keeps going. So we've decided to test it out with a TV. Currently this TV is pulling about 125 watts, and that should be well within the 350 watt rating of this sucker. So let's see what happens. I'll have to turn this upside down so we can keep watching our rating there. Maybe I have to, you gotta hit the button to turn the power on. There we go. So we're already getting some power draw here, 14 watts, 20 watts, and the TV's in standby. Interesting, because this is saying like 33 watts and this is saying 68 watts. Well, now this is at 60, 62, 105, 92, 105. So now we're back to reporting about 125, and here it's reporting 139. So there may be a little bit of inefficiency, but what's interesting is, again, we're now powering this entire TV from a single 20 volt DeWalt battery with this little sucker. Now I'm just curious to know how long it'll last. And this battery only has 1 little bar. See that one little green bar there? So I'm gonna let it sit here and see what happens, but I'm also gonna grab some more batteries just to check that out. Okay, I got some truly atrocious batteries. Look at this sucker. It's a cheap knockoff battery and it's literally like coming apart. It's terrible. And this one's fully charged. So we're gonna smack that one on there and watch what happens here. We're at 16 volts. And I think what's happening is that's reflecting the state of charge on that. Oh, interesting. So I don't know if we simultaneously ran out of power on this or just the fact that we added another one turned it off. So I've got another, now this is a 60 volt battery, again, a generic one. It's only got 1 bar of charge. We got the TV back on the way it was before, and I'm gonna slap this one in and let's see if it has to reboot again. Nope, okay. We'll do another one. This one has 2 bars. Oh, there it went. So I guess you can't be hot swapping the batteries while you're using it. It turns itself off and then back on. So we're back to the same situation up here. This says pulling 138 watts. It's still only reporting 18 volts, even with all these batteries, which is kind of weird to me. But this is saying 125 watts. So one of these 2 meters is a little off, but that may be just because of the additional inefficiency caused by the inversion process. One other thing too is this is supposed to be a sine wave, a full sine wave converter. Now I don't have a device to test it, but theoretically this is putting out clean enough power that it's not going to damage sensitive electronics, but I don't have any way of testing that. So I think I would be suspicious of that to start with. I might not be plugging it into a computer without going through, let's say, a battery backup, you know, that cleans the line and everything like that. But other than that, it's pretty cool. The fact that it'll run off 1 battery or 4 batteries, and we've even got mixed state of charge batteries, and we've got 60 volt and 20 volt capable batteries everywhere. It's pretty cool. Thumbs up. Okay, if you've got your DeWalt 20 volt batteries, eventually you're gonna wanna chop something up. So here is a cheap little cordless reciprocating saw. Now this thing came in at like 50 bucks or less, I think, which is about a third the cost of an actual DeWalt. Now that doesn't mean it's as good, but we're gonna give it a shot and see. It's actually really nice looking. I mean, the quality, I would say it feels as nice as a DeWalt or a Milwaukee. I mean, this is slightly rubberized. It's not just plastic, it's kind of rubberized. And I mean, just overall, it feels high quality and pretty cool. It even comes with several blades, and it also comes with a little belt clip that you can put on the side, just like, again, a DeWalt battery, a DeWalt tool would come with. So let's see what happens when we put that in. Yeah, it snaps, it fits snug, it's nice. That's good. When I squeeze the trigger on this side, it looks like we've got a power meter, and this battery is fully charged. On this side, you see it's 1 because that's the speed, and I can hit 2, 3. So it's got 3 speed settings and a power meter. Okay, now let's go cut something. Okay, this is a little bit of an annoyance. To put this on, where with a DeWalt, you would usually just hold it there and put a screw in. On this one, you gotta take this tiny little nut and get it recessed down in that holder and then try and screw it in. So that's a bit of a challenge. Look, it's self-fixturing. No, I don't know how I'm gonna do this. No, oh, hang on, maybe. It's like one of those games where you try and get the balls to line up. I'll take either side. Oh, there, I got it in there. I got it in there. Okay, so let me try and just see if I can just hold that and somehow hold that. Oh, I got it, I got it. I don't care how well this thing works. Please, just pre-insert a nut in these things for us, for God's sake. Oh, that's not even tight yet. Off the cut. All I want is a piece of tubing, but they emptied our whole bin today. No tubing. Okay, if you want to load the blade, all you have to do is twist this little sucker and twist it to open it, drop the blade in the slot, and then let it go, and it's locked. So that's nice. Put it on high speed. Actually, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna put it on low speed, because actually I'm cutting metal, and when you're cutting metal, you wanna cut as slow as possible to keep the blade cooler if possible. Okay, let's see what happens. Wow, did a great job. Nice clean cut. It was smooth. I would say it felt just like using a DeWalt. So for 1/3 the price, that's a pretty good buy. Okay, now that you had to sit through all of the unboxing and testing, here's the final thoughts, I guess. First of all, the fan. I mean, I like it. It's cheap. If you have a very small area, like if it was gonna sit on your desk and point at you, cool. But don't buy this for like camping and hanging in your tent. It's just not gonna put out the power you need. The little soldering gun, honestly, I wanna love it because it's kind of cool and it's got that trigger that just kind of makes this noise. But I don't know how to solder very well. So, and my test certainly did not go well with this thing. So use it at your own peril. However, the 2 air compressors, they both worked great. My preference was the gun style. I don't know why, I just kind of preferred it, and I like the bigger screen. The pump, man, that put out a lot of water unexpectedly, but that was pretty awesome. The big old drill impact wrench, that thing was as good as any impact wrench that I've used on driving some really thick, heavy nuts and bolts. So thumbs up. I think my favorite of them all is this bad boy. Now they claimed this was some crazy amount of lumens, like 7,000 or something. It may or may not have been, but it was very, very bright. It was awesome. Compared to this one, which also claimed like 7,000, it was bright, it was good, but it was not 7,000. So anyway, you can't really go wrong with any of this stuff. It's hard to pick a favorite. Maybe for pure usefulness, I would boil it down to either the inverter or this LED light. In fact, I think I'm gonna go mess with some people with this right now. So thumbs up, we'll see you next time.
Yeah, no.
Check this out.